Hey guys, welcome to another Mastermind content video. I'm Richard O'Dale and today I'm going to be exploring the deep and often hidden emotion of shame, particularly for those of you who have a tenuous relationship with your parents. If you've ever felt as though you're not good enough, or you're not worthy, or you're undeserving, the underlying cause could be shame. Shame that was projected onto you by adults when you were a child. So if that resonates with you, then stick around because I'm going to reveal some strategies that you can try to help you heal the emotional wounds from your childhood. Okay, let's get straight into this. But first of all, let's discuss what shame is, because it's more than just feeling bad about something that you've done. It's about believing that you are bad. Even when you have several decades of proving to yourself that you are not a bad person, that you are successful, that you are loving, kind, and honest, this underlying feeling of shame continues to lurk in the subconscious. So why is that? Well, the American academic and podcaster Brené Brown, who's a leading voice on the topic of healing shame, describes the emotional wound as the intensely painful feeling or experience of believing that we are flawed and therefore unworthy of love and belonging. Basically, it's the voice in your head that tells you that you are not deserving of love, acceptance, or connection with others. It's widely regarded that the origins of shame start in childhood and can develop as early as 18 months old. Now, if that is true, shame is so deep-rooted in your subconscious that it can be invisible your entire life unless you recognise the symptoms in your thoughts, feelings and behaviours. If you grew up in a home where your parents, especially your father, was overly critical, neglectful and emotionally distant, it's easy to see how these seeds of shame are planted early in life. You may also have developed shame at school if your teachers treated you unfairly or your peers often picked on you. So I have several examples of this, such as getting a black spot and being made to stand in front of the school assembly just because I couldn't do a maths sum. Shame can also develop if your achievements are not recognised and acknowledged. Well, when I accrued the second most number of merit marks in my class when I was around 11 or 12, my father's response was, "Why didn't you come first?" Another example is when I was 10 or 11, I was in a swimming club and I was going for my 2-mile badge, and I wanted to complete it in under an hour because not many people at our club had done that. And I achieved the goal. But despite finishing the course and getting my badge, my dad's comment was, "Why did you start front crawl so soon? You could have timed yourself out." But the point is, I didn't time myself out. I swam 2 miles in under an hour and I was proud of myself. And he took that away from me and made me feel ashamed when I should have been feeling pride. Pride and shame are the opposite emotions on this spectrum. So perhaps you can relate to these stories as well. Now, did your father and mother downplay or ignore your achievements? If so, you may well have internalised their lack of approval and proof that you're not good enough. And over time, this inner voice saying, "Why didn't you do better?" shapes your self-image and fosters feelings of shame. But shame manifests in many different ways. Let's see if you recognise any of these patterns throughout the course of your life. So 1, you say that you like things like food or a TV program or music. You say you like that to somebody because you want them to like you. You want to fit into their group and you want to feel accepted. But you say these things that you like even though you don't. Now what you're actually doing here is burying parts of your true personality, your authentic self, because you fear that you will be rejected by this person that you want to be your friend or that you want to like you. Another symptom is that you are shy and blush easily, or you avoid contact when you're talking to somebody, or you can barely speak when you feel embarrassed or inadequate. The third symptom is that you self-sabotage relationships, and you tend to do this by pushing people away, by ending a relationship before they have the chance to end it and reject you. Now this is because you fear rejection and abandonment, because you weren't given that emotional support and nourishment by your parents. A fourth symptom is that you might avoid entering a relationship in the first place because making connections with other people is too uncomfortable. Again, this is that fear of rejection and abandonment that is driving your decision making. So a fifth symptom is when you downplay your achievements as nothing, or you feel embarrassed when somebody compliments you. Now this is modesty, but modesty is a symptom of shame. When you don't feel shame, then you have humility. It's acknowledging that you achieved something, but you don't boast or brag about it. You just feel good about it in your own self. So when somebody pays you a compliment, to overcome shame, rather than being modest and playing it down, just accept it with a humble response, such as, "Oh, thank you very much, I appreciate that you've said that, I appreciate that you've noticed that." Or you could say, "Oh, that's very kind of you to say, thanks." Just something simple. A sixth sign of shame is that you're a people pleaser, and you tend to do things for other people even though you don't have the time, energy or resources. Again, you do this because you want to be liked, you want to be acknowledged and accepted. You crave a sense of belonging. A final symptom is that you are addicted to a coping mechanism or an unhealthy or destructive behaviour that makes you feel shamed afterwards. So for example, this can involve sexual behaviours or eating comfort foods and then feeling dirty and disgusted with yourself, or behaving in manners that make you feel ashamed later, such as retaliating when somebody says something that you take as a criticism. So if any of these symptoms and patterns resonate with you, then stick around, because now I'm going to go into certain strategies that you can adopt to overcome these deep-seated wounds. And the first one is, do not judge yourself. You see, shame thrives when we beat ourselves up. So instead of judging yourself, then practice self-compassion. Treat yourself like you would a close friend going through a rough time. Second strategy is be open to making mistakes, because mistakes are part of growth and development. You need to accept that you're human, and being human means making mistakes because we learn from mistakes. Now the key here is resilience. If you felt inadequate because you were never taught to recover from failure, especially if you felt as though you couldn't live up to the expectations of your parents, teachers and peers, you're more likely to back away from challenges whenever you make a mistake or you fail. So it's important to recognise that there's nothing wrong with failure. There's nothing to be ashamed about when you don't get something right the first time. It's just all part of the process. So the third strategy for healing shame is forgive yourself and others, and this is a big one. Now, if you're holding on to shame because of what happened in the past, you're allowing other people to maintain authority over you. So maybe you feel ashamed of something that you did, or maybe others made you feel ashamed for just being who you are. Either way, you need to develop the power to let go and forgive yourself and others. The fourth strategy is to surround yourself with supportive people, and this is also one of the most powerful ways to combat shame because it gives you a sense of belonging. When you're around people that lift you up and nurture your self-esteem, you feel needed, you feel accepted and you feel acknowledged. So if your family relationships or even your work relationships or your peers at school are not giving you the emotional nourishment, but rather they're the source of your pain, then it's crucial to surround yourself with a support network elsewhere. And this involves surrounding yourself with like-minded people who share the same interests, share the same experiences, and help you to feel valued and understood. I can't express enough how connecting with people and finding a space where you feel safe is huge for healing shame. So the fifth and final strategy that I want to discuss today is to let go of shame and install pride. Now, shame is often installed in children unfairly. Now, maybe you were disciplined for being you, or your bubble of pride was burst because your achievements were not recognised by your parents or your peers. Now, the shame and disappointment that you felt at that time are not yours. It was your mother's or your father's or whoever. Now, don't forget that they're carrying shame as well, and it's human nature to project unconscious emotions onto other people because it's too painful for us to deal with them ourselves. But eventually, we have to deal with them. Otherwise, they cause mental illness and even physical disease. So essentially, the point that I'm getting at is that the judgments of others were never a reflection of your self-worth, your greatness, or your ability in the first place. They belong to somebody else and have been projected onto you. They've been given to you. So give them back, because once you acknowledge that you have no reason to feel shame, then you can begin to move forward without feeling shame. You can move forward with pride. Remember that shame is not yours to carry. So once you let go of it, you can reinstall pride and feel that sense of accomplishment that you had in your moment of glory, and own that. Own the pride, because pride is the antidote to shame. Okay guys, I'm going to wrap this video up there, but if you have enjoyed this video and you found value in it, then please like, share and subscribe to the Mastermind Content channel for more enlightening content on psychology, emotional healing and nourishing your emotional well-being. I'm Richard Eldale and this is Mastermind Content. Thanks for watching and bye-bye.